In this video, we'll see the GST exemption for the public charitable trust. The requirement is that the trust has to be registered under section 12AA or 12AB of Income Tax Act. However, we are not required to refer Income Tax Act for the definition of charitable trust. The activities of the charitable trust are given in the notification itself. Notification number 12 2017, entry number 1. They define the charitable activities. See, in GST, we should not say that it's a charitable trust, it's mandir, gurudwara, so the GST exemption is available. You have to independently see that whether that transaction is exempt. If not, then it is chargeable to tax. GST is a transaction level tax. The entity level exemption is not available when the tax itself is a transaction level. So you have to see whether it is exempt or chargeable to tax. You should not say that this is a gurudwara or mandir or temple, therefore the GST is not payable. If the activities are covered by the notification number 12 2017, entry number 1, then only that activity is exempt under GST. Otherwise, if you see section 7, what it says, that supply include all forms of supply. Very wide. And section 9, which is a chargeable section, levy section, section 9 of the CGST Act, what it says, GST is payable on supply at the value determined under section 15. Correct? Correct. Let's see what, and this definition of or the activities of the charitable trust are very restrictive under this entry. Therefore, you should not commit a mistake. You have to see whether the charitable trust activities are covered by the entry number 1, 12 2017, then only that exemption is available. Otherwise, public charitable trust required to pay the tax on that transaction. Okay, let's see what are the activities covered by the entry number 1 of notification 12 2017. Public health related activities. Very restrictive definition. See what it says. Care and counseling of terminally ill person, person with severe physical or mental disability, person affected with HIV or AIDS, person addicted to narcotic drug or alcohol. This is only if a charitable trust is engaged in any of these activities, then only the exemption is available. Otherwise, the exemption under entry number 1 is not available. Let's have one question here. Suppose there is a doctor, an individual is having OPD. How can he claim the exemption under entry number 1? He should not claim, or he cannot claim. Correct word is he cannot claim exemption under entry number 1. That doctor needs to go to entry number 74 of the same notification 12 2017 to claim the exemption from GST. Have you understood? Correct. Let's move ahead. Then education activities, advancement of education program, which is a charitable. What we are seeing, what is covered by the entry number 1 for charitable activities. The education program for orphan, abandoned, homeless children, physical, mental abuse persons, see this restriction, see what level of restriction. Person over 65 years in a rural area. If the charitable institute is engaged in providing the education program for those persons, then only the exemption available. So if there is an education institute which is in an urban area, a school which is in urban area, how can they claim exemption? they cannot claim exemption under entry number 1 of 12/2017. They need to claim the exemption under entry number 66, which is very wide exemption entry. 66, it's the same notification 12/2017 of central tax rate. The exemption is available for the education institute. Okay. Then religious, spiritual, yoga activities, etc. For that purpose, meditation program, the yoga activity, yoga camp. Nowadays it's camp. That is a charitable activity. Let's have one question over it. Suppose a charitable trust organize a yoga and meditation program, residential. Nowadays it's residential. 3 days program. Along with that, there is a accommodation and food facilities available. So whether that is exempt, and if yes, under which provision it is exempt in GST? Yoga is exempt. Yoga classes that are exempt. Yoga program is exempt. It means Zumba class is not exempt. Huh? I don't know what is Zumba, but Zumba class is not exempt. Meditation program, that is exempt. See, if there is a residential program organized by the charitable trust, public charitable trust, then the accommodation and food is also exempt. In GST, there is a concept of composite supply. The principal activity, the principal supply is meditation program, yoga camp, etc. The accommodation and food is incidental to that camp. The main supply is yoga, main supply is meditation. Accommodation is incidental, food is incidental. Composite supply, so that accommodation and food is not having any separate existence. And even meditation program is exempt, accommodation and food is also exempt. Okay. Move ahead. Now some certain points. Receipt of donation to the public charity by the public charitable trust, whether that is exempt, and if yes, how it is exempt. If no, then why it is chargeable to tax. See, what is chargeable to tax under GST? See the basic concept. What is chargeable to tax under GST? Is a consideration for performance of a contract. What is performance of contract? Means a supply. In return to the supply, the consideration that is chargeable to tax under GST. When a charitable trust receives donation, then that is not for a consideration of any activity done by the charitable trust. Therefore, it does not come within the purview of section 7. As this is not a supply, therefore the exemption is available. Have you understood? See, if there is an unconditional donation, then that is not a supply. This is not a supply, therefore, as per section 7, therefore there is no levy as per section 9 of the CGST Act. Immediately switch to the question that if it is a conditional donation, what is the meaning of conditional donation? Suppose Mr. A given a donation of 1 lakh rupees to a public charitable trust, put the condition that my name, my company's name, my company's website, my product's name is to be displayed in a particular way. That is known as conditional donation. It means what? A public charitable trust is doing advertisement branding activity of that person, and in return they received a consideration of rupees 1 lakh, which is called as a donation, which is termed as donation. We chartered accountant, we always looked at the substance of the transaction, not the form. When charitable trust is doing any branding advertisement, is a supply. amount received for against that, which is called as a donation, is actually a consideration. Therefore, it is chargeable to tax under HSN 997999 at the rate of 18%. Have you understood? Correct. Let's move ahead. Now, receipt of sponsorship. Let's take an example that a public charitable trust organized a conference. They received the sponsorship. Sponsorship is basically what? That whatever are the expenses for that conference, the sponsor will pay the amount. Correct? Generally, in return, what public charitable trusts do, they do the branding of that sponsorer, their products, their name, etc. So, a branding is a supply under Section 7 of the CGST Act, is chargeable to tax at the rate of 18%, the amount of sponsorship received. Okay. However, this is first part. However, if the sponsorship is received from a body corporate or from partnership firm, then that company or that partnership firm who are sponsorer needs to pay the GST under RCM. Charitable trust is not required to pay the GST. However, if the sponsorship is from other than company, other than partnership firm, then charitable trust needs to pay the GST at the rate of 18% on a forward charge. Okay. One person has asked me a question that relating to the donation, that a public charitable trust received a donation. Okay. And on their own, they mention the name of the person who given a donation. Okay. That is not put as a condition by the donor to put my name. That is still considered as unconditional donation and exempt. Okay. You have to look at the substance of the transaction, whether there is an advertisement, whether there is a branding activity is happening. If yes, then chargeable to tax. If no, not chargeable to tax. Why? I already given a reason. Then that is not coming under supply under section 7. As it is not a supply under section 7, then it is not a leviable under section 9. One more point. When a charitable trust receives a unconditional donation, then that is not a supply, correct? It is not a supply. It is not chargeable to tax. Then it should not be included in computing the aggregate turnover under section 2 subclause 6. When it is not a supply, then that should not be considered in computing the aggregate turnover. Let's move to the next slide. Rental income. Generally, what is happening in when there is a temple, Gurudwara, they are having a huge space, and they are giving certain shops on rent. Certain they are having the accommodation facility, and they are having that open space or hall, which is known as Kalyan Mandap, banquet hall, etc. The exemption is available under entry number 13 of 12/2017. But there are conditions. What are the conditions? First condition is that it should be precincts, means within an area of that temple, not outside. First condition. Second condition, that it's a monetary ceiling that has been levied by the government, because Indian public is very creative. Therefore, government put a monetary ceiling. So the first condition, that those rooms, shop, open space should be within an area. Okay. And then if the room charges are less than Understand? Less than 1000. See, institute will ask the question, room charges 1000. Then that is not exempt. If it is less than 1000, that is 999 rupees per day, then it is exempt. Rent of a shop. The rent, if less than 10,000, that is 9,999 per month, then it is exempt. Otherwise, it is chargeable to tax at the rate of 18%. Community hall. The rent, if less than 10,000 rupees per day, then it is exempt. Otherwise, it is chargeable to tax. One point here, that this exemption, what I am reading, is under entry number 13 of notification 12/2017 for room rent less than 1000 rupees per day. If there is a hotel, the exemption was available under entry number 14 of notification 12/2017, that has been withdrawn by the government. So the hotels are not having any further exemption under GST for the room rent. You know that the concept of declared tariff, if below 1000, then the exemption was available. Now it is not available. That has been withdrawn by the government. Okay. Okay. Let's move on to the next. Now we have discussed the main part of charitable trust. However, there are certain other activities and the entries and the exemption entries are also available that we will discuss now. Now, services by an old age home, that is exempt under entry 9D of notification 12/2017. What are the conditions? The condition is that the service provider may be either central government, state government, or public charitable trust, that is a trust registered under section 12AA or AB of Income Tax Act. So these three persons can be the service provider, central government, state government, or the trust which is registered under 12AA or 12AB of Income Tax Act. What is the condition? That the old age home means a person who is of a age 60 or more, then only this exemption is available. Further, there is a monetary ceiling that the amount should be less than, the amount should be up to 25,000 per month per person. That include maintenance, boarding, lodging, everything. So have you understood basically this exemption is under entry number 90 of the notification 12/2017. The service provider can be central government, state government, or the trust which is registered under 12AA or AB of Income Tax Act. Then the amount of consideration is up to 25,000 per month per head, which include maintenance, lodging, boarding, everything. And the third condition is that the person should be of age 60 or more. If it is less, then this exemption is not available, that is chargeable to tax. Okay. Okay, let's move ahead. Certain miscellaneous entries now. Famous prasad sale. Generally what's happened, that in a temple there is a facility that if you want you can purchase prasad. Whether that is exempt, that is exempt, but which exemption entry that we are referring is a service entry. 12/2017 is a service exemption. Sale of prasad is a sale of goods, that is not exempt under entry number 1 12/2017, which we are referring as public charitable trust. However, this is exempt under HSN 2106. In this HSN, the rate of GST is 0, that is nil rated. The tariff rate is nil, not 0, my mistake, nil. There is difference between nil and 0. HSN number 2106, under that a Prasad sale is exempt. Now, public library. Public library is exempt under notification number 50. Sorry, under entry number 50, notification number 12/2017, service notification. One more point. Import of services by the public charitable trust. What is the condition? It should be for the charitable purpose. Then there is no need for that public charitable trust to pay the GST under reverse charge mechanism. That is exempt. This exemption is available under notification under entry number 10, notification number 9, 2017 of integrated tax rate. Friends, tell me one thing, that why it is under IGST? Because import export is deemed to be interstate supply. Therefore, this exemption notification is under IGST Act. What are the conditions? That import of service is for the charitable trust, is for the charitable purpose. If it is not for charitable purpose, then the exemption is not available. Further, why it is import of service is only exempt? Why import of goods is not exempt? Because import of goods is governed by the Customs Act. GST Act cannot issue an exemption notification and for that purpose. Import of goods, you need to refer Customs Act. Okay? Okay. Then there is a sale of printed books that is exempt for everyone, not only for public charitable trust. So if you go in the market, purchase CA books, there will not be any levy on that invoice. This is exempt under notification number 2, 2017, HSN 4901. The GST rate is nil. Okay, so this is for printed books. If you purchase CD, if you purchase pen drive, that is not exempt. Along with book, at the back of book there is a CD. Whether that is exempt? Yes, that is exempt because it is a composite supply. What you purchased is a printed books. Along with that there is a CD. So exemption will be available for the entire bundle. Okay. So many complications, so many things. Yes, but आपका जन्म ही कॉम्प्लिकेशंस फेस करने के लिए हुआ है, आसान चीजों के लिए नहीं हुआ है. Okay, that's why you came for becoming chartered accountant. The last is sports activity. Sports activity done by the any sports activity done by the public charitable trust registered under 12AA or AB of Income Tax Act. Then that is exempt under entry number 80 of the notification number 12/2017. Yes. Let's go to the next. That if the one more thing, that if the charitable trust is giving any consultancy, expert advice to any body corporate, partnership firm, that is chargeable to tax at the rate of 18% under SAC code 997999. Now coming to the last part, very interesting. Let's take an example that a charitable trust organize a musical program, what it called as musical concert, etc. There's a celebrity who will sing old melody Hindi songs. Correct. What is decided? That whatever is the amount of ticket collection that charitable trust will use for the charitable purpose. Have you understood the transaction? There is a musical program organized by the charitable trust. The tickets collection will be used for charitable purpose by that charitable trust. So whether that ticket collected, whether that collection of that ticket or the musical program, whether the GST is, whether that is and exempt under GST under entry number 1, 12/2017, this is not exempt. Again, I am repeating, GST is a transaction level tax. You have to independently see each transaction separately. What is a supply in this transaction is a musical program service. Consideration received is a ticket, amount of ticket, straightforward chargeable to tax. That will be used for charitable activity. That you should not see what is the ultimate objective. You should see this transaction separately. Okay. In this way, you need to interpret GST. You need to understand the GST law. Only one thing you need to remember, that the GST law is transaction level tax. Okay. Have you understood? If you are having